If your grain jars have ever stalled out, gone green, or just never took off to begin with, there's a good chance it happened right here. Not the monotub, not the substrate, inoculation. This looks like the easiest step in the entire process. You just inject liquid culture and wait, right? But this is the single point where most grows actually fail. And like so many mushroom growing mistakes, you won't even realize you messed up until days or even weeks later, when it's already too late to fix. Let's get started with the biggest mistake. The first time I tried to grow mushrooms, I didn't use anything to control airflow. I just followed the instructions that came along with my all-in-one bag, and I did it right on my countertop, and that was that. Despite following the instructions to a T, everything contaminated over and over again for months. The moment I finally switched over to using a still Airbox, I had my first successful grow. That's how much of a difference this thing makes. And nobody even told me anything about controlling the air. What gives? Some people think you need a bunch of serious lab equipment to grow mushrooms, like a laminar flow hood, an autoclave, maybe even a full clean room, but you really don't. Just a cheap plastic box and a bottle of 70% isopropyl alcohol will do the trick just fine. That's it. That's your lab. We don't need to create a fully sterile lab space. We just want to control the air around our workspace for a couple of minutes. You see, we have contaminants floating in the air all around us, just waiting for the opportunity to jump into those grain jars you worked so hard to make. The second you uncap your syringe and start reaching towards that jar, there's bacteria, there's molds, there's other fungi jumping all over that needle. And the second that you insert it into the jar, you've also inserted all those contaminants. So to get started, set up your still Airbox and throw all the supplies in there. Your jars, alcohol, paper towels, and your liquid culture syringe from happymycelium.com, of course. And all the supplies that I'm using today are linked down below. People oftentimes set up their still Airbox and just start working immediately. You need to let the air settle first. That's the whole point of the still Airbox. So what I do after loading everything inside the box, I'm gonna spray all the surfaces with my 70% isopropyl alcohol. That's my syringe, my injection ports, my little paper towel, and then I'm gonna let everything settle for a couple of minutes. At this point, I'm gonna wash my hands, get my gloves on, and get ready to go. After a couple minutes, our still Airbox is ready for us to begin inoculation. Once I slide my hands into the box, I give my gloves a good spray with the alcohol, and I rub them together just like I'm washing my hands, trying to cover the entire surface of the glove with alcohol to kill anything that might be on it. Now, once you put your hands inside the still Airbox, you want to move carefully and deliberately. Don't start swinging your arms around, or you're going to lift up all the contaminants that have settled to the bottom, and there's a chance that they fall on our precious injection ports or our syringe. Now let's talk about the needle, because this is kind of an easy place for people to get sloppy. This might sound obvious, but it happens all the time. You're uncapping your needle, you're screwing it on, you're repositioning the syringe, and that needle grazes your hand. It grazes a surface, it grazes something, and that once sterile needle is no longer sterile. That's literally all it takes. The needle is your direct line to a sterile environment, so if it's been touched, it's been compromised. Don't use it to stir your cereal, don't wave it around like it's a wand in Harry Potter. The only thing we want this needle touching is the clean injection port. When you go to attach your needle, remove the syringe cap, screw the needle on, shake the syringe around, then you can remove the needle cap. From that point forward, the tip goes near nothing except the injection port. As a general rule, I try not to set the syringe down after I uncap the needle. Not wiping down the injection port with some alcohol before you stick your needle in there. It takes 2 seconds, and it's one of the easiest ways to reduce contamination risk. The port's probably been sitting out exposed in your closet. There could be dust on it. There could be other stuff. Just give it a quick wipe here. I'm using my alcohol-soaked paper towel, but you can just as easily use a little alcohol pad. This was actually my most recent mistake and my first encounter with contamination in a while. I was moving fast, working right in front of this laminar flow hood behind me, and I think I was just getting too overconfident. I was in a hurry. I forgot to spray the injection port and wipe it down with some alcohol. And you better believe, despite having the laminar flow hood, despite cleaning my gloves, using a fresh needle, I still introduced contaminants into that jar, all because I forgot to clean the injection port. It happens to everybody. Once the injection port's wiped, just insert your needle, inject your liquid culture, move it out, and onto the next jar. Wipe, insert, inject, remove. Keep it simple. Some people also like to flame sterilize their needle before they start, usually outside the still airbox. That can help, but if you're using a fresh sterile needle anyway, there's not really any need for this step. And for the love of God, do not use a flame inside your still airbox that has a bunch of alcohol fumes. That's just asking for trouble. Mistake number 5 is trying to use too little liquid culture in an effort to extend the life of your syringe. I get it, liquid culture isn't free and you want to make it last, but if you're only putting a little squirt, like a drop or two, into your jars, you're asking for trouble. This is going to cause slow colonization, and it gives contaminants the opportunity to take hold of these grains before your mycelium can. For a 1 quart jar filled halfway to about 2/3 full, I like to use 2 to 3 milliliters. I think that's a good balance between conserving the liquid culture and using enough to get a speedy, safe colonization. Keep in mind that the faster your mycelium is able to colonize the grains, the less opportunity contaminants will have to outcompete your mycelium and colonize the grains for themselves. If you guys want to save money and don't want to buy a bunch of fresh liquid cultures, I've made a video about how you can turn 1 liquid culture syringe into effectively unlimited liquid culture, and I'll link that video down below. Mistake number 6 is going to be not shaking your jars after inoculation. When you're working with spores, you obviously don't want to shake your jar right away because you want those spores all in the same spot so they can mix and match and ultimately produce the mycelium that we've grown to love. But with liquid culture, you can drastically speed the process up by shaking the jars immediately after inoculation. Some growers will wait to do their break and shake after 20 to 30% colonization, and that's not necessarily wrong. I've done it myself in the past, but I don't think it's the fastest nor the most optimum way to colonize a grain jar. What we want to do with shaking here is distribute the liquid culture as evenly as possible. The more contact points that the mycelium ultimately get, the faster this jar will colonize. So take your time here, shake it thoroughly. I usually shake each jar for 30 seconds to a minute and just get that mycelium nice and distributed. Coming in at mistake number 7 is going to be not labeling your jars. Put the species name and the inoculation date on every jar every time. It feels unnecessary when you're new to mushroom growing and you're only doing a jar or 2, but 3 weeks from now, when you've been obsessively growing mushrooms and you have 20 jars and none of them are labeled, you might run into some problems. Which one's ready? Which one's stalled? Where should they be in the growth cycle? Or what is even in each jar? At any given time right now, I'm probably growing 5 or 6 different mushroom species, and I've probably started them all on different days. So if you don't build that labeling habit, you're just gonna set yourself up for confusion later. I'm telling you, once you catch the mushroom bug, you're not gonna be growing just 1 mushroom anymore. And that's pretty much it. All these mistakes are simple, but they're the reason that most grows fail right at the starting line. I've struggled with this step more than anything else in my entire mushroom growing journey, and hopefully after seeing this video, you won't have that same struggle. If you're ready for the next step or want to see the full process from start to finish, I've put together a complete monotub playlist that covers everything from starting your first grain jar to harvesting your mushrooms and getting your monotub ready to grow more. And I'll link that playlist right over here. Now go get some grain jars and get to work, because remember, the worst grow you'll ever do is the one you never start. That's it for today. Thanks for watching and happy growing.